Hey everyone! Every Tuesday I do an Ask Me Anything on my Facebook group, Awakening Personal Power, and I answer questions. So I'm going to answer a question from Miguel first. He asked, how do you feel or know when a desired manifestation is coming? So it's a little bit of a unique experience for everybody. It's a little different. But what I experience many times is a click, what I call a click. And a click is when the emotional intensity gets built up to a certain point that it feels real. And in that moment, I just know it's done. So when the click happens, it comes over me. I feel it in my body like, oh, it's done. It's done. I don't need to meditate about this anymore. I don't need to work on my attraction point. I don't need to clear anything. It's just done. And in that moment, in order to get to that moment, is like a recipe that, it's like making a beautiful thing for dinner or dessert or whatever. It's like you just put just the right ingredients in, and sometimes it doesn't work. But when it does, you can manifest anything. So you can be in there only for a few moments and you can connect. And in those connecting moments, you're beyond space and time because you're moving into a place where you're basically not in the analytical mind at all. You're in the alpha brainwave state. So your analytical mind has left the building and you are in a place where you can actually tune into the frequency where it already is happening. So Abraham talks about this. You wouldn't be able to perceive the possibility of it if it weren't already existing at a frequency. And the only reason you're not experiencing it is you're not at that frequency. So the way I get into it is a step-by-step process. I use Dr. Joe's meditation, Tuning into Potentials. That's one of my favorites. But you can do a much shorter meditation for yourself, or even in the moment, you can move into that space. But you just have to be in a place where you are primarily embodying the present moment, because in the present moment, you're bypassing time. You're in a place where it's all existing in this moment. So you're aware that every possibility is here now. When you're in that space, then everything becomes available to you and you can simply choose. So for the larger things, I would do focused meditations where I can actually spend more time releasing the analytical mind and getting into alpha brainwave state. For things I feel pretty confident about, I could just go right into it. Small things, usually I just write it on a list, and those smaller things just happen automatically because I've had the experience of that happening so frequently that my analytical mind is now promoting my manifestations because it knows that I can manifest small things. So the analytical mind as a tool is working for me instead of against me. So I can create from the conscious mind. Love that question, Miguel. Thank you for asking that. And David asks a really interesting question. How do you know when contrast has arrived because it's been given to me for growth that I desire, or it's arrived because of sloppy focus on my part? So this is an interesting question that I could answer in a lot of different ways, but the quickest, most efficient answer is, for me, is to reframe how you perceive unpreferred circumstances. So when you say it's given to me for my growth that I desire, or sloppy focus. So if you're thinking that it's sloppy focus that brought this thing to you, and you're experiencing this thing because you weren't a good enough manifester, so to speak, or because you have split energy and resistance and you weren't good at managing that and you were lazy about that, those thoughts are not. First of all, everything is always attracted based on what you believe or expect to be true. So if you're experiencing something unpreferred, it is because you tuned into that frequency more so than the frequency of what you desire. However, once it gets there, it's not going to serve to try to find out why. Because since everything's a vibrational outcome, the only important thing is that you go as quickly as possible back into the state, the vibrational frequency of what it is that you do desire, so that that thing can come about as quickly as possible. So in order to do that, I recommend reframing this idea that anything comes to you that's negative. So even if you don't prefer it, you can still categorize it under everything's unfolding perfectly. Things are always working out for me. Nothing ever goes wrong. Everything's always on my path. If you have those beliefs solidly integrated into your life experience, in other words, anytime anything unpreferred comes along, like you're waiting in line or you're in traffic and you're just like, oh, traffic, right away, reframe that to, well, this must be unfolding perfectly. I don't know how, but it must be. And then your mind will find the ways that it has unfolded perfectly. So if you do that, if you start to reframe that anytime any unpreferred circumstance comes up, you will change your whole reality. This has changed my entire reality. And anytime something comes up where I feel like I don't want to be feeling this, I don't want to be experiencing this, I always go back to, wow, this must be happening for my benefit. It must be good for me to be experiencing this. And then you can even go through like a list of reasons why it's good. I started creating a list and noticing that unpreferred circumstances always provide clarity. They always provide a new sense of focus, a new level of focus. They amplify the skill of focusing, because you're like, wow, I don't want this to happen again. I really want to get into the space where this doesn't even occur in my reality. What do I need to do to get there? There's usually some sort of frequency that's being trained, whether it's holding space for things to flow through your life and not allowing them to pull you out of what you're focused on, or whether it's actually training you into that frequency that you're looking to maintain and you're not consistent with. So that's an awesome question. I hope that answer helped. Let me know. And then Sabrina asked, do you think journaling, like what you want to manifest, will help? Absolutely, as long as it feels good. So whenever you're looking at an action, and this is something that I really solidified with Kent Peterson, who's an amazing, awesome, out of this world coach, but he kept reminding me that your inner being always is guiding you towards what feels the very best. So if in the moment you're deciding between journaling and some other activity, and journaling feels really, really great, then the emotion that's attached to that will produce results. Should never, I would say, don't take action that you don't feel good about. I personally use journaling before sometimes when I remember to do this, when I journal before the day starts, so I like write before I go to sleep, I write down things I want to happen the next day, and that pretty much, I have a really high success ratio with that. Again, it'll be little things that I want to happen, that I've experienced manifesting before, that seem easy, that seem fun, that feel joyful. So I hope that helps, Sabrina. Thank you guys for your questions.